Hello, everybody. It's Friday night. It's 7 o'clock and it's bloody hot. It's time for the Weekender. Another look back over what's caught our eye across the tabletop hobby the last 7 days. Apart from having a jam-packed show for you, we also have a prize. One lucky subscriber will be in with a chance to win Gale Force 9's Aliens, Another Glorious Day in the Core. If you want to be in with a chance to win, pop a comment below and do all the social media doobly-doos as well. That would be great. You can even ding Warren's dong. Go on, you might like it. Otherwise, sit back, relax. Hopefully I won't turn into a puddle of sweat, because the weekend starts here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm joined this week by Shay. Hello, Shay.
Hello.
Feeling better?
Yes, much.
Lucky man. Ben and Justin are also with us to keep an eye on Shay, and if he falls off his seat, we'll just cut him from the rest of the show. Don't worry about him. He'll struggle on regardless.
We'll just put a picture of Shay up.
No. I have the perfect stand-in. Sorry, it's out in the gaming store. I'll bring it in if necessary.
Oh,
okay.
It's not Sean Connery riding an owlbear.
No. Workshop were very kind and sent us a cardboard cutout of a Terminator. Perfect.
I'd say Shay's like a Terminator.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Certainly the equivalent in bulk.
Fat, slow, and can't
Did
run.
you just call him fat?
No, I said
muscly.
bulk. So he's a little squatty powerlifting thing of doom. He carries all the boxes while we watch him. Anyway, how are you keeping this week? Have you survived the heat thus far?
Mostly. It stopped me painting things, but other than that, it's been all right.
I'm knackered from the waist. I'm just like I've got paddling pull under my table.
I'm going to say it right now. I don't want to build resin right now. It's too soft.
It's too bendy.
I died from the heat a week ago. I'm just here in spirit. What's left?
Shay's Force Ghost.
Shay made the mistake of going to a concert in this heat.
Oh, no.
It's when they have concerts, though, to be fair.
Yeah, true.
I ended up in Imola during a heat wave for a concert a couple of years ago, and Jesus, I was not prepared. I mean, of all the places in the world to go, Imola was going to be bad anyway, and then they decided to double down with a heat wave. It's like,
oh, God.
One of our community members discovered how hot is recently when one of his 3D printed busts exploded in his cabinet.
Oh, wow.
What?
There was resin inside that hadn't completely cured or drained away, and then the heat just made it. And then the resin went everywhere, and because it's a UV resin, it then cured, having covered the shelf and other things. Thankfully, glass shelf, so you could scrape it off, but it's another reason I'm not going to 3D print. None of my metal miniatures have ever exploded on the shelf behind me for being left too long in the sun.
Yeah.
But have they burnt you when you picked them up?
No, it's all fine. We're all fine here. Just to pick them up. Once they go on the shelf, they stay on the shelf. Anyway. So yeah, the heat can only mean one thing, that spring is almost sprung, and we're coming close to summer, which will mean the end of our Spring Clean Challenge.
It will. Yeah.
So you only really have next week.
A week-ish.
A week-ish.
Yeah.
If you haven't already been involved, to get in there and be with a chance to win lovely, lovely vouchers for the OnTableTop store. Buy merch.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't been paying attention, well done you. But I'm going to spoil that now. You can go into our project system, create a Spring Clean Challenge project, and dust something off. Maybe return to a forlorn and regretted previous project that's just been gathering dust on a shelf, and spring clean it, get it up to speed. Pull something out from when you were just a kid, strip the model back to its bare metal, paint it up better now that you have better skills and not having to use Humbrol enamels, things like that. There have been some absolute corkers of projects in there. I particularly like, there was one based around a sort of a industrial Necromunda style terrain made out of MDF and Nerf guns.
Very cool.
Which was just amazing.
Spicy. We still a Nerf gun though.
Oh, there were so many Nerf guns all stripped apart. It was good times.
Sadness.
No, not really. I mean, what are you going to do with a Nerf gun these days? I mean, presumably, if you point at anybody, you'll be immediately banged up. So, really, the only thing you can do is turn it into Sci-Fi Train. But they'd been quietly building and painting and collating all the images, and then in one foul swoop over the course of about 2 days, dumped several months worth into the project system. So, if you've been doing the work and you've got the images, whatever, feel free to stick them up there. I mean, even if you don't get involved in the sprinkling challenge, they're always good for inspiration for other people and for people to come along.
Yeah, the project system's great.
The revamping Gangs of Rome there by Sancho Panza is particularly nice. There's some really great Rome buildings that have been frescoed up and had additional bits and pieces done, like flagstones. And also, if you're planning on doing ancients or even fantasy, that's a great project to have a look at. If you're interested in Gangs of Rome, also a very good project to have a look at.
Very much so, yeah.
So yeah, if you want to win hard currency, cash money, you're not going to get it, but we will give you some vouchers for the store, which is practically the same thing.
Cash like money.
Gift vouchers, like cash, but less flexible.
So you can buy more stuff, store it, and then do Sprinkling Challenge
next year. It's how we keep people coming back.
It's like a hobby battle pass.
Yeah. We're dealers, really. Once you're into the Sprinkling Challenge, you're never out. You have to keep coming back to us. And
so the first hit's free because it's one you already had.
Yep. Yeah, very much so. Right. It will end on the 21st of June. We will have a look over anybody who's clocked a project as a Sprinkling Challenge entry in the subsequent week, and then we'll probably announce it on the Weekender. That's what we did last year. We just took a whole weekend to peruse the projects and see what people had been up to, and it's always good fun to see what people have been doing rather than just reading comments below going, "You've mispronounced that. You know who you are, liberal." Anyway, it is time to move on to the most important part of the show. It's the part where I get to talk about something I like. So not 40k then. It's the Indie of the Week.
Hey.
This week's Indie of the Week is the Little Soldier Company.
Oh, these guys are so good.
It's an eclectic mix of stuff from various sculptors that have been cracking away for a long time now. So as you can see, it's the abode of things like Noggin the Nog, another reference for the kids, as I so often do. I pull in the quintessential kids references that everybody's up to today, and everybody loves Noggin the Nog. Assuming, of course, you were alive in 82 when it was last shown. Yeah.
Before my time.
Oh, well, I mean, maybe you've seen it the first time round, back in the late 50s, early 60s. I don't know. Noggin has been a staple of TV and books for years. Bob Ollie, creator of the first Space Marine, if I remember correctly. Wasn't it Bob? Anyway, Bob has had a long and storied sculpting past. He does a little set of political caricatures. Kev Adams, the Goblin Master, has his Tenok, and there's also the apocalyptic world of Grunderland and other bits and pieces. So we're just going to crack in. I'm going to start with the Politico stuff because these amuse me to the very core of my being.
It's great fun, yeah.
It reminds me, there used to be a shop in Smithfield in Belfast that did a set of essentially political cartoons, caricatures for chess sets.
Oh, cool.
Where you could pick up, at the time it would have been people like Gerry Adams, Ian Paisley, Margaret Thatcher. Later on, Tony Blair made a sort of a sachet in there as well. So these aren't going to be everybody's cup of tea. Really, most people are going to be picking these up to just hit them up for amusement value, but you can see obviously
the pig's head
who's in there. The party political pig's head demonic familiar is there to go with the Under King David. Now, they are technically little dwarves. They're big-headed caricatures to be perfect for Lloyd and his big-headed dwarf army.
That's true. Maybe we found some generals for him.
Yeah. But they're just great. What were you godding about?
The Lord of Covfefe.
I mean, there's a lot to be said for him. That tie, I think, is possibly too short because I think
it needs to be long and tucked into his pants. Or something.
It needs to come much further down. Yeah. Generally, red, I think, is the Lord of Fefe's favorite.
I wonder if that one comes with a windswept head swap.
No, but I mean, get yourself some 18mm static grass and just have it wafting slightly, creeping from the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you can see, they've done a whole host
Bernie, the
including-
Lord of Change. I love it.
Oh, the Crown Prince of Lies.
Yes.
including Jerome, the keeper of the past at rest. I do like. Can you see that he's painted the little sleepy eyes on?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's very good.
That
Which
is
not to be
fabulous.
seen with this creepy,
Yeah.
creepy version of him toffing around the place. At least he doesn't have his top hat.
Yeah.
But yes, they're just a really interesting little whimsical set of things. You've got your Men in Black. You've got Dollum of Barnard Castle. If you're not into politics, then a lot of these things will probably mean
We'll
nothing
pass
to
you
you.
by, but yeah.
But for a certain generation, it's nice to see the satirist / political cartoon
Yeah.
still alive and well and kicking around. So yeah, you two can have these for various reasons.
See, one of my favorites of this, Shay, you won't have seen this, but there used to be an old show called 2D TV, and it was so good because it was all this kind of humor.
Hmm.
And it was when George Bush was still in the White House, and it was so fun.
Yeah.
I love the
You get
Jack
like
in
spitting
boxes.
image vibes from a lot of this.
Oh,
as well,
God, yeah.
which is kinda cool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
as a little aside, you can also get a set of horns and a devil's tail that you can use to upgrade any of your politicos.
I'm
Right.
surprised there's no lizard bits. I suppose you could paint those green because the
well,
lizards.
that's true. Yeah, drop the horns, keep the tail, paint it green.
Yeah.
Away you go.
See, what I really need is just like a little crown that they can just trade about depending on who's, in charge today.
Who's in power? Yeah.
And of course, we have a couple of little Westies
Of course, Westies are cute.
because why not?
Dogs at polling stations.
no Downing Street cat style.
No.
Presumably because it wouldn't sit still long enough to be
The true Lord of Westminster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seen so many prime ministers come and go. But yeah, if you want something a little bit different for your dwarf army, or just fancy taking the piss out of numerous of our past political leaders and present,
Grab
then
these
yeah,
and have some.
I
the
mean,
political
yeah.
range.
Tell you exactly what I want to do. I want to get the entire range
Mm.
and play a game of 7 TV.
Yes.
That would definitely be one way of doing it. Yep.
You can do a Harry Hill fight type thing. Just get them all set up for like a wrestling match on the table.
See, I imagine it would be less Harry Hill, more Benny Hill.
Well, yeah, maybe.
It's funny you say that. Many moons ago on the Spectrum, another kid reference here, there was a spitting image beat 'em up game where you played political leaders. So you would have Margaret Thatcher fighting the Ayatollah Khomeini and stuff like that. So maybe some sort of 2 leaders enter, 1 leader leaves style Thunderdome is the way to go.
A democratic rumble.
Yeah. Right. Moving away from there, I want to have a look at the Alice in Grunderland set. This will be, fairly self-explanatory as to what you're looking at here. But it's comprehensive.
Whoa.
So obviously you've got your standard sword and board, spears, that sort of thing. You will occasionally notice people like
Guns.
the Vigilant rocking some sort of AK. If the day does not require an AK, it is a good day, as Mr. Cube once said. But yeah, unusual bunny type things. But then we get into the whole idea. Never ever follow them, by the way. I mean, if a white rabbit says follow me, just say no. Say no to wizard white rabbits. But the more Alice-like pieces, I really, really like.
That's really
because
cool.
they're just so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I remember how this works now. If I do that, it debigulates it for some reason because it hates me. It hates me so much. So let's do that.
Okay,
I mean,
Jerry,
they
I
are
want
cracking.
to do these on Square base.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. Why
Do
would
them
not?
Square
rank
base is
and
the square
file,
card.
deck of
Yeah.
cards.
Mm. Out of which, depending on what you're playing, it could be fantasy, it could be sci-fi. Because I think
Yeah.
to point out there are people back there rocking what looks not dissimilar to an old force pike and a chainsaw.
Yeah.
So, doesn't necessarily have to be fantasy.
No. Yeah.
Somebody could have done something in a Red Dwarf style. You've arrived on Wax World and it's all gone wrong. And at that point, Queen Victoria's in with an Uzi to take out Hitler's high command. It's not far. It's not far away from that.
Oh man, it sounds like just perfect Hollywood for these
Yes.
days anyway.
Yeah. Have a look. Now, I believe all of the backs are blank, so you can do whatever you want. So somebody's, as are the fronts, there's no sculpting on, so, you may want to go for transfers. Transfers for the front, really easy. Clubs, spades, diamonds, bush, bush, bosh. The back of your deck, you can do whatever you want. Obviously, you'd pick your favorite solitaire deck from the original Windows Solitaire.
Ooh,
mine was the little castle in the night with the fluttering bats.
Mine was the Caribbean.
Oh, no, too hot. Why would you bring heat back into it? I was thinking of lovely, cooling, dark shade.
Think cool thoughts. Think cool thoughts.
Yeah. But I mean, look at that.
That's really cool.
That is quite fabulous.
They are absolutely ridiculous. Super ridiculous.
I love that it is very much down the rabbit hole in terms of just weirdness and oddity.
And there's enough here to do whole slews of units, so you could play a whole game with nothing but these sort of things. There's Alice and Malice. Alice, notice twin Glocks there.
Guns akimbo.
Yeah. It's how
or
you
when
deal
she's
with
had enough of your shit.
Yeah.
Very much so. And the grotesques. They are, aren't they? Yes.
Yeah, they are certainly a something.
It's like the marginalia and that sort of thing that they've been sort of pulled from.
That's the word I was looking for. Marginalia.
Where medieval scholars got very bored, just doing nothing all day, but writing the same book over and over again. So you've got to amuse yourself, and you do it by painting or drawing this nonsense into the sides of the.
I mean, the guy on the right, I am wondering why he's got that particular little dangle off his elbow. Looks rather suspicious.
This one, it's just a harmless bit of frippery on his clothing. Don't worry about that. I will say, if you kick him square between the legs, you're not going to hit anything then. Radovic the Hedgehog.
Radovic the Hedgehog. That's so good.
Like Dracula Wedding and Dodge and Twins. So a bit Tweedledee and Tweedledum style, but a bit more.
I'm getting mild vibes of Winston Churchill off that one.
Because he looks like a baby. A lot of babies look like Churchill.
Yeah.
Ergo, all bald, short people look like Winston Churchill.
A dodo.
That Zorak the Mock Turtle smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
I mean,
why would you not?
It's just great.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's just such a fun little range of batshit insanity.
Yeah.
It's what
everybody
wants.
The Queen is like 4 times as big as the
casualty
as well. That's cool.
Oh, per card.
Yep. At least we know that if they bleed, we can kill them. That is the most
hang on.
important thing.
That's not blood. He's a 2 of hearts. That's ink.
See how you're crafting your own narrative. There's even a little set of cultists. The cultists are kind of cool. I'm going to bring those up, and also bring up the Lich and the evil toys, because they are all sorts of, again, Alice-like madness. So you do have your
cat, the Cheshire cat.
The Cheshire cat is Corker, not to be confused with Corky Corcoran. Look at him there, and more importantly, look at whatever that poor tragic thing is below him.
Oh God,
that's a snack.
Probably is. I really hope it isn't though. But just creeping away, hiding up there.
Have they done like a Lewis Carroll Jabberwock as well? Is there a Jabberwock in there?
I haven't seen one.
I have to find one of those to put it in for like a boss creature or something. Yeah.
The Jack the Boxes again.
Perfect objective markers.
Look at that.
That looks like a really weird cartoon of yourself, Jerry.
Right. I'm not bald.
Or is it
am I the horse? I'm the horse and Ben's the man.
I don't know. I was looking at the
I don't
face.
want to read
I don't see
fanfic.
baldness. Look at me. I don't see baldness.
Oh, okay.
I have a full head of hair, I swear.
There's a hooker smoking caterpillar. Yeah.
I love the idea of doing something like Home Raiders with these and having all the toys and everything all over like a weird and wonderful tabletop.
In fact, because we've talked about Home Raiders in the past, and when they went off book and stopped doing things like the Lilliputians and the Gremlins,
the weird penguins,
and then did like Egyptian penguins, you go, it doesn't really fit. But now you're saying Alice in Wonderland fits perfectly because she shrunk. She's little borrower Home Raider sized. Yeah.
That would be really good fun, I think. Especially if you use this like toy-based set.
Artwork. Yeah.
coming at you, whether you want them to or not. There's also a nice set of rattlings and vermin. Led by a mind flayer and some sort of ethereal type ghosty.
Mm-hmm.
But just
those are
coming around,
delightful,
bonking you upside of the head with a whole banner's worth of manacles and chains.
Really fun.
I mean, I'm guessing they rattle a lot, so they do not do stealth.
Yeah. You can hear them chittering. Chittering, banging is half the fun of playing a rat army. You want people to know you're coming, just like rats in the walls.
I like to think that those aren't spears and they're actually brushes. And they're actually just like a bunch of graffiti artists.
I must reach out. I've been see this black thing at the side?
Yes.
I found one of those one day when I was scrolling through somewhere and thought I'll come back and buy it later. And I've never been able to find the site I've seen it on again. I need that because that'll be perfect for my unboxing.
Maybe someone could tell you in the comments.
Somebody tell me where I saw that. Because I was on that site for a reason and I have no idea. And I just happened to stumble across that. And then I went away and never bought it. And I've never heard it again. Anyway.
I mean, we do have friends with laser cars.
Yeah, but if somebody's already making one, why mess around? Just go ahead and do that. There's a whole bunch of cultists going full on Spanish nutter butter.
Those are great. Yeah.
Crunching variants. In fact, there's even a palanquin as well. So you've got your
sci-fi
and fantasy versions.
Well. Nice.
Which, I mean, if you're playing, I know somebody in the community starting to do like 15 mil necro. But these would obviously sort of segue in there very handily as
Cawdor.
No, Redemptionists.
Sorry, yes.
Which were essentially the same thing, based on the
spin-off of it.
Catholic.
Yeah. Or if that person is doing small scale necro, he could set these up as statues.
Oh yeah, as well.
That's cool. True.
Yeah.
Although I will say their masks suggest that they are part of a very specific cult, and the
cult of Zoidberg.
Yeah. Now Zoidberg is the popular one. He's got his own cult and everything. There's not a cult of Fry out there. Nobody wants to be Lena. He just doesn't have any depth perception. So. Have to blind yourself in one eye and you spend all your time shooting 3 feet in front of people. Terrible. Okay, pick your cult appropriately, people. Anyway, so yeah, Alison.
I choose the cult of Bender.
Grunderland is
the cult of Bender.
is just great. There is, of course, a big dragon.
The cult of Clamps. That's where you want to go. That's a cool dragon as well. I like that.
Yep. Yeah. Look, it's 54 high. See how we know that?
I like that it kind of feels like it fits into the toy thing because you could imagine that almost as like a plush thing rather than it being an actual dragon as well, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
See, if you could get it so that the treasure pile was just like loose change that's found down behind the sofa, drawing it out every night. Going,
that is such a cool idea for a story, Justin. That all the change goes into a dragon's hoard at the back of the sofa.
Slightly better than my idea for where dragon's hoard comes from. Did we talk about that last week?
That it's poop.
They excrete it, and that's why
dragon poop.
That's why you end up with so much gold being found with dagrons. So
that's delightful, Jerry.
Love it.
Yep, I thought so. I thought everybody would love that.
Yeah,
because I'm very good like that. Let's go back, and we'll have a look at the Tenok. So anybody who's into Old Hammer, of which there's a blooming huge community, and as I keep saying, if you want to do Old Hammer, stop at 3rd edition. Don't go past it because it starts going all heroish after that. But this is a fantastic place to get your hands on Slan equivalents back when Slan weren't just one fat frog sitting on a throne, that when they were actually a whole army. So you would have your Slan on Cold Ones models that haven't been available from GW in forever and a day. And as you can see, there's a whole literally a host here, including things like their enhanced warriors, i.e. we found some people in the jungle and now you have to carry us around and fight for us. We should call you the first wave.
You can make the army of Kremlo, the classic Slan who went to Norska and raised a tribe to fight alongside him in the New World. That's what you need to do. So
they are known as the Fadua.
There's also the Kame, who are a whole bunch of chameleon-like sort of little skinklet bits.
Those are great.
But this is the meat and potatoes of the range, the actual proper old school Starspawn frogs creeping around, bashing people's heads in, and just generally enjoying life. Not at the moment because it's too
We
hot.
made this world. Stop ruining it.
Yeah.
Stop touching my toys.
You are our science experiment.
Yeah.
Please, science experiment, stay inside your petri dish. You can also pick up bits and pieces like those turtle-like shields. You can get those separately. If you just
don't tell Lloyd.
If you're looking at them,
Everyone tell Lloyd.
100%. I'm planning on telling Lloyd. Fear not. Love this.
Oh my god, that would have to suck so bad. That drummer, every time he slaps him, basically reverberating through into his chest, going, boom.
It also means he keeps walking forward towards the enemy, even though he might not want to, because every time the bongos go, he gets pushed forward a bit. But yeah, just a fantastic range if you're planning on playing some Oldhammer. Look.
And someone found a gun.
Filth. Oh, they had all sorts of guns and powerfists and stuff. They were the worst, just the absolute worst. You didn't want to go anywhere near an old Slan army. They would have you. Look, there's a dead god on his little throne.
Brilliant.
Not at all creepy, scary in any way, shape, or form. A little bit.
The hell are those?
Those are spawns.
Thank you,
If we
thank
look
you.
cool, we look derpy.
Both can be the answer. Packing shields.
Oh, there's the shields.
And then some various
Weapon
accoutrement. Yeah, including a nice little gold mask. They're all fun of there.
Yeah. And then all the bases in the world.
Look, froglings. Out your spawning pool. Eat the bugs. Don't let the enemy kill them.
I like the grumpy one in the middle.
Yeah,
that's great.
He's had enough of all your shit.
Why did you drag me from the pool? It was cool.
I'm not coming out there. I'm stuffed. I want to go home. I don't want to go to war today. Right. I want to have a look at the reason we're all here. Noggin the Nog. So Noggin the Nog, leader of the Nogs, prince in the first episodes, became a king after his father Knut died. And then the many adventures he had trying to keep his kingdom away from Nogbad the Bad. You can see Nogbad there, pointing out a wicked finger at Graculus. Poor Graculus.
Chastising a seabird.
Seeing this is tickling my toddler brain. I think I may have seen an episode of this when I was 2 years old or 3 years old.
I mean, Peter Furman and Oliver Postgate did some fantastic things like Bagpuss and Ivor the Engine and things like that.
Yeah.
So these are officially licensed.
They are.
There's a whole host of stuff in here, and also links to the actual official sites. You can pick up the books. There are book collection stuff. If you've got young kids who haven't seen Noggin the Nog, maybe pick up a book series, get them involved, then buy the miniatures, pay the miniatures, play the game.
Gonna buy me a book, Jerry?
I'll buy you a book of Noggin the Nog. Yeah.
Yay!
100%. I will buy you a book of Noggin the Nog.
It's all right, Shay. If you want just any book, just go to Mickey D's, get a Happy Meal, and choose a book instead of a toy.
Yeah, but it won't be Noggin the Nog.
It won't be Noggin the Nog.
Oh, I know. But he just said a book.
There's Noggin and Nuka, the Inuit princess he married. And as you can see, I mean, these are little touches that until you've read or seen Noggin, you probably won't know. But he had to marry within 6 weeks or he would lose the kingdom to his uncle. And he looked at all the princesses brought forward and didn't want to marry any of them. And then Graculus arrived with a walrus dagger that was carved with the image of Nuka in his beak and handed it over to Noggin and went, no, that's our princess up north. And then he went off and found her. Got wed, got the kingdom. It's all good.
So hang on. That was like a proto Tinder. She's on the dagger. Shit. Swipe right.
Ship north, right. I think is how it goes. Ship north. Find Nuka. But I mean, all of these.
Such good models.
There's a little clanger as well.
Yeah.
That's very cute.
Clanger.
I don't know if it was an urban myth or if it was reality, but someone said that you could actually sort of intonate the speech of what they were saying if you kind of worked it out. And in some cases, the people doing the little whistle stuff were actually swearing in clangor.
It could be.
Yeah.
using a little whistle.
Yeah.
Inhaling and exhaling. The dozing sentries are really nice. I mean, all of this is for people of a certain vintage. The kids, obviously, were all on board with Nog and Nog. But
This
just
is so glorious.
seeing all of these move from, and it was all 2D paper stop motion animation. So seeing them writ into 3D is just absolutely superb, and they've done such a nice.
And not being
job.
Tempted to kind of like modernize it in any way to turn Noggin into like a real life looking Noggin, just actually taking the artwork and transferring.
I mean,
it
you have to. It's part of the charm. Obviously, you can't have your games narrated by Oliver, which is a shame because he had a great look at the trolls. That was a great episode, the game where Nogbad and Noggin are playing a game of chess, and there's a whole set of trolls with them. Apparently, I don't know how true this is, but Noggin the Nog came from one of the creators was on the underground and seen like a tube station called like Neasden or something like that, and he thought, Noggin? What's a noggin? And then went tube station plus Lewis Chessman, put them together, Noggin the Nog. There you go.
Brilliant.
And that's how this comes.
I love the genie.
Oh, the flying machine. While it is obviously Viking-esque in cases, there is a certain amount of fantasy and whimsy in there, including the inventor who mostly makes inventions that are terrible, but the flying machine worked, which allowed him to go on adventures further afield and see other things. So it's not all just...
That's where Noggin goes to meet the Varangian Guard, clearly.
Bring them back for Lloyd.
Yeah.
Also Noggin coins, which make really nice tokens or objectives.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? I'm thinking of how you could do like a really fun kind of... I can't remember how many like basic troops and stuff they have in this collection, but you could do like a little sort of mini Noggin the Nog saga.
Yes, I have thought of that. There was another company who did Asterix years ago called Magic Miniatures or Magic Metal, something like that, in 28 mil. And they look fantastic. Unfortunately, no longer going. And anytime the models come up for sale, they go at an outrageous price. But the idea of having Noggin square off against Asterix and Obelix.
That'd be so good.
It would tick all the boxes.
I clearly know who's going to win. Clearly Asterix and Obelix.
Oh, you underestimate Noggin the Good's power. Maybe Nogbad the Bad is the man to send in there. Deal with them up front nastily. But yeah, just a superb collection of absolutely stonking.
What a fun little
range. Yeah. There's even a Medbury or Medball team that you can have a butcher's at.
I was wondering what the Medball section was.
So
they did 2 football teams.
They did 2 football teams.
Yeah.
And they're even linked to a rule set that you can pick up. Because there's not a game specifically for it, it's just the football teams, but you can go to Striker Table Soccer and then pick it up there or pick it up from Wargame's Vault. You'll need to supply your own pitch and stuff, but it plays out on like a Subudio pitch, so relatively big. But it means you've just got your 2 teams of Noggin-esque players and coach manager. So
good.
You could have Nogbad and Noggin up against each other. Unfortunate casualties. There are always casualties in Medball.
Yeah.
But we'll not let that pass us by.
It screams to me of something that should be done as a salute participation game.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Come and play Noggin the Nog Medball. That'd be so good.
Yeah. So I've not had to look at the actual strike soccer rules.
No, but I'm definitely going to now.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if they don't do what you want them to do, once you've got the teams, that's the hard part. Putting together a set of rules to use with the teams, much, much easier. Yeah. And there's bound to be a ton of stuff out there that you can sort of horseshoe in. And maybe if soccer's not your thing, you could always go for some form of American style football or rugby.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to swap that little round ball out for one of those egg-shaped ones for fun. But yeah, so little soldier company delightful ranges of
really good
insanity and my youth blended together delightfully. So you should definitely go and check it out. And if you haven't seen Nog and the Nog, a lot of it's on YouTube. Go and watch YouTube.
to
YouTube. Stop, pause the video here. Go and watch all the Nog and the Nog. Then come back.
Yes.
We'll see you in approximately 2.5 hours. Right. We're going to take a quick swish. I'm going to watch some noggin. And when we come back, we'll take a look at the news.
Coming to you from the center of Northwestern Europe. Covering board games, war games, card games, and all that you love. It's the news.
Okay, we're back and ready to take a look at the news. And first up, we're going historic or video gamey, but it's historic, but it might be a video game, but that's not historic, is it? I don't know. It's all very confusing. What's happening then?
It's a bit of everything. Yeah. So Gale Force 9 have re-released their game World of Tanks, which we've played on the channel before and seen it going. It's very cool. Very similar to the video game itself, or the PC game, whichever way you want to approach it from. You'll be taking control of a series of different tanks. You'll be getting your crew together, and you'll be blasting each other to smithereens on the tabletop.
Is that a mouse I see?
It is, yeah. So that is the new starter set, which is looking very sleek indeed in that lovely new packaging.
Hold up. They put a mouse in the starter set? You madman.
Yeah. So the set comes with everything you need to play. So it comes with the rules, it comes with the tokens, comes with all the card decks that you need for making your various tank crews and everything like that. But then the 4 models that you get in the set, you get the German mouse, as you can see there, looking very big, dominating the landscape, considering all the other tanks there. But then you also get the Soviet IS-3, the British Centurion MK1, and also an American T-29 as well. So you've got a nice selection of different vehicles there for you to be playing around with on the tabletop. As I say, comes with everything you need to play the game, and you could obviously play this in teams. You could play it as just everybody's for themselves, just blasting each other to pieces if you wanted to, or you could dive into some objective-based games as well if you would prefer to do that. Everything's been sort of like revamped and refined, so it's easier than ever to dive in and have fun with this one. But if you've played World of Tanks before, then it'll probably be a nice sort of way for you to step up your games and try things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
It should be noted as well that all of the tanks that you see there, they come with that sort of pre-colored sort of undercoat on them. So they're all ready and raring to go if you want to, but you could paint them up in all sorts of of zany colors if you prefer. I quite like the idea of going full sort of modern video game on them and applying whatever kind of cool skins you might want to do for like clans and that kind of stuff.
Oh, you want to do it Fortnite style?
I want to do it Fortnite style. I want to have Iron Man the tank.
I don't know what Fortnite is, but World of Tanks was doing that like 8-9 years ago when it launched.
Yeah.
So
trust me.
Style.
But between them and like World of Warships, I mean, they've done like anime and 40k variants on vehicles.
Well, exactly, yeah. So I want to see.
Cherish my ignorance.
I want to see German mouse with like digital modern camo on them, or like transfers, or like a Banksy done on the side of it. I mean, it's big enough.
Just gonna put it out there into the world. I hate the French tanks with auto loaders.
I think everybody does. But I will say, because you can paint them any way you want, it's not a bad shout because it's a very light game to play.
Yes.
It's not fun. And it's not nation specific. Now, they are doing nation sets that we'll see in a second, but you could quite happily put all 4 of these into the same team. And therefore, having team colors is probably a great way of doing it. You know, just picking your football strip and sticking liver birds down the side of everything and going that way.
I think that's a great way to go.
I think it's a fantastic way to go.
Or you stick Tesco's on the side of everything.
Yeah, well, you brand Pepsi everything.
Yeah.
Pepsi versus Cola.
Tank. Yeah. The Pepsi versus.
And suddenly we're into Mutant Chronicles.
The Cola Wars have begun.
Oh, that would be great.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to see IKEA-based tanks. That would be great.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so
well, then you just get a box of bits.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. As well as the starter set, there's also a bunch of different platoons. I should also say there's an array of kind of like single blister packs as well that you can pick up. World of Tanks, they have gone all in on this. But if you want to just get some sort of themed sets based around different nations of World War II or whatever, then you've also got these platoon sets. So there's the German one there, which comes with the Tiger 1, the Stug 3 Alfsg, and the PZKPFW. 5 Aus
Camp
H.
wagon.
Yeah, sure, whatever that was.
It is a Panzerfaust.
It's a tank.
Yeah, it's a tank. You've got the UK one as well, which comes with a Cromwell, a Churchill, and a Valentine.
Much easier.
Nice. Very nice
Much
and easy to
easier,
say. Yeah. And then the Americans come in with the Lee, the Sherman, and the Wolverine. Again, nice and easy to say.
I hate the Lees. Such a pain to work through in the game.
Well, you can set up loads of them and just use them as target practice in your games. Then.
That is true.
Yeah, and then you've got the USSR, the Soviet platoon as well, which comes with the T-34, the KVS 1S, and the Su-100 as well. So if you want to throw your lot in with the Soviets, Shay, then you can do that as well and have some fun with that. So yeah, I could see a lot of people having a lot of fun with this. It's nice that they've kind of revamped it to be like, here's a good entry point for diving into World of Tanks, but then also provided people with loads of additional options to get started with as well. So it means that you're not kind of stepping into the game and just ending up playing loads and loads of starter set sort of missions. Essentially, you've got loads of things to expand and change, and obviously you can dive into this game and play it from the viewpoint of, I just want to have fun blowing things up with tanks, or you can come at it from a slightly more historical angle, and maybe this will kind of be your sort of entry point into playing more stuff in sort of World War II and that kind of thing as well.
So you will never put the mouse on the table if you do that way.
Well, that's can. Very, very late war for like an hour. I don't know. Yeah.
One of them was apparently working.
Yeah.
Interesting thing is that they have produced the mouse though, because all of these vehicles, all these kits are the standard Battlefront 15mm stuff for Flames of War. So the fact that there's now hard plastic mouths coming and some of the other weird and wacky late war or post-war.
Yeah, or the
really
paper tanks.
Because obviously there's a lot of that in World of Tanks. I wonder if we'll see any bleed across into Flames at any
Possibly.
stage.
I mean, they do a lot of like the theoretical ones that were never actually produced.
Yeah, I would definitely say that they're going to go down that route at some point in the future. Lots of ways for them to expand in different.
I wonder if they'll do it like the video game and have the premium tanks.
Oh, you mean you actually think you're going to put in like a Land Raider?
The whole point of the premium tanks though is to get people to pay real money for them. Whereas you're already having to pay real money for these because they're a physical object and not invested.
This is fair.
So
this is fair.
Yeah.
Ones and zeros.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on from the world of tanks, more plastics.
Yes.
For Stargrave.
Yeah. So the folks at North Star have been working away on a new plastic set that can be used for diving into Stargrave and creating even more unique crews than you had the options for before. This is a new plastic set that will come with enough components to make 20 of the Scavengers. I know a lot of people have been looking to get these for a very long time when it comes to the way that Stargrave has evolved with the latest expansions and that kind of thing. But this now comes with a new selection of options for you to go down the route of building like proper Scavengers that head out into the head out onto the frontier to sort of raid ships and trade caravans and everything else in between. Comes with an array of different weapons for you to be playing around with. So you've got pistols, blasters, rifles, everything else in between. You've also got a whole bunch of melee weapons in there as well, which is nice to see.
There's a Demolition Man stun baton there.
It looks to be, yeah. There's also a good selection of both sort of human and alien heads in this set as well. So if this was you looking for less kind of helmeted, sort of more rough alien heads for you to use within your group, then you've got the options for doing that. Of course, you could always go down the Star Trek route and just paint all your humans blue and you'd have aliens. So
that looks like a massive selection of alien and human heads.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun for those people who like to sort of kit bash together all of the different grave plastic sets to make something awesome.
I see a machete in there. I hope there's a Danny Trejo head.
I haven't seen one, but there are 24 heads for five bodies.
Yeah,
that's a lot of options.
Yeah.
I also noticed that he's been numbered off. It's not often they number.
Well, if you look, each of the arms do appear to have a cast number in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's been numbered. It's not often they do that, especially that looks like a single-handed pistol. So I wonder where the matching arm for that is. But
cool.
it is nice to see because it bridges the gap between the robed cultists and wizards set for Frostgrave that a lot of people have been using in Stargrave with the shoulder jacketed soldiers and crew. So having that sort of 3/4 length frock coat means you can mix and match without it looking very desperate.
Yeah.
And I
definitely want to give this kit a go.
Yeah, I mean, one of the nice things about when we've discussed it there is like all of these different kits are compatible. So everything's been done so that they're really easy to build and play around with. I mean, you saw what we did with our different kits when we played through Frostgrave and Stargrave as well. But sort of when we made all the different Frostgrave warbands and things, we had a lot of fun just meshing together all the different sets. And depending on how you paint them, you could take them down the kind of piratical route, or you could make them a lot more uniform and maybe have them as like kind of like privateer style affair or something if you wanted to.
Something a little bit militia, maybe.
Militia, yeah, easily. And there's no reason that these have to be crew members. They could also be used as kind of NPCs in your games because you tend to get like pirates and all sorts of different things.
Pirates and scavengers and stuff kicking around. So they're particularly nice for that.
Yeah. And normally they do a fair sized box. So how many do you get in the
20 in this one? So
nice, very nice.
Enough to make 3-4 crews.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So,
Well, I mean, what you're chucking out there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're wanting some major variation for like your core space, this would be a perfect kit to grab.
Yeah, you can go down that route as well. Yeah, very nice.
Very sweet. I like that. Presumably, there must be another book coming. I mean, it's been a couple of days since Joe released his last one. It's only a matter of time.
There is a new book coming. Bold Endeavors is the one that's coming out later this year. So keep an eye out for that one.
I don't have room on that shelf anymore. All my graves were together, and now that shelf is full of graves.
The cemetery is full.
I'm going to have to.
You'll have to split them
off.
Yeah. Star from Frost.
Shocking. Right. Sticking with the space.
The space stuff.
Yeah. But moving to a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. So more stuff coming for Star Wars Shatterpoint when it comes to both bounty hunters and also the royal side of things as well. But if you're a fan of the cartoons and also if you like the first of the prequel films, The Phantom Menace, you also have some options on that front as well. We start with a fistful of credits. Very good little sort of joke there. I see what they did. But this comes with the deadly bounty hunter that is Cad Bane. So if you're looking for someone to hunt down Jedi and everyone else in between, definitely want to be picking up Cad Bane to throw into the mix. He comes with his blasters, and I love the pose of him where he's kind of pulling the Stetson down. I just think it's so cool and gets across those awesome gunslinger vibes really nicely. There's also the sniper Aura Singh there as well with her blasters at the ready.
Jedi Hunter Aura Singh.
Leaping back or stepping back as she sort of shoots her way out of a situation on the tabletop. My favorite has to be the Deveronian on the right.
Right.
He kind of, I kind of get the vibes that that's like Justin.
Yeah.
What?
He's bald.
It's you.
I'm not.
Jay, run to the shop, get 2 cornettos, come back and just jam them on.
Oh God! We just got a new shipment of Mephiston red spray.
There we go.
I really like the little Chadrafan.
Yes. So you got the Chadrafan and Todo 360 as well there as well. So you've got Cad Bane's kind of erstwhile droid trying to help him out with getting the loot out of there. And then the Chadrafan as well, which is really awesome. So yeah, a really nice little set.
I do have to admit, I was very tempted to pick up the starter set for this when we were at Expo, but the buy-in is quite hefty.
It is hefty.
Yeah.
Yes.
I never looked.
Yeah. The thing that's quite good about it though, and it's something that I've said to other people about Shatterpoint, is that at least they didn't drop the starter set and then not do any expansion stuff. They've dropped it and gone. There is loads of stuff coming throughout the rest of this year to kind of supplement the main game. So if you want to dive in, you've got the chance to keep going deeper and deeper into it.
When Marvel Crisis Protocol came out, it was the starter set, MODOK and
the Hulk, and that was it.
And then that was it for a long time. Yeah. All you were seeing was the same characters slapping each other. It's nice to see with Star Wars Crisis Protocol that they decided to go a bit better for that.
If you want to go down the Phantom Menace route, then you can play around with Padme Amidala and her handmaidens of the Naboo Royal Court. So if you're looking to fight your way out of the Royal Palace, potentially towards the end of the first film in episode 1, well, you have the option to play around with. So you've got Padme Amidala there. You've also got Sabe, who's her sort of lookalike that kind of is there to make sure that she doesn't get blown up. Awkward, but there we go. But then there's also the 2 Naboo royal handmaidens as well. So if you wanted to add both Natalie Portman and Keira Knightley into your collection, you've got the opportunity to do that. I like that they actually sculpted the faces to be exactly the same. So you get that kind of like
looking at here,
standing thing.
That's what I want. I just want 4 of the same face.
Yes.
Forever swapping handmaidens in and out.
Yeah.
It's like
Saddam Hussein.
How many arguments is this going to cause on the tabletop when you kill one and it's just like, no, it wasn't her.
That was Sabe. Ha ha ha.
1 in 3 chance now, boys.
it's the equivalent of killing Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
Is it Doom or is it just another Doom bot?
Yeah. But again, a really nice little set. I really like the posing for the handmaidens in particular. I think that's really nice.
I think the handmaidens are my favorite part.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with their sort of ceremonial robes and dress, but the handmaidens have that sort of more, we're going to go down fighting feel.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They've really captured a nice little bit of motion in the cloth work that they've done in the sculpts, which I always like.
Because it's, and I think that's really nice because it's obviously a skirmish-based game where you're playing with a few models per side, and it's meant to be kind of like dynamic Saturday morning cartoon action. You want that kind of thing built into the models, which I think is really cool. Yeah. So very nice.
I'm guessing they haven't said anything about how they play game-wise yet.
There's a couple of bits of information underneath it, and I think they did. I think Atomic Mass Games did a I see it over on their web store, but I think Atomic Mass Games did like a sort of like run through of the different box sets that were coming up in a live stream. But they also have loads of blog posts and things where they're talking about gameplay and things like that. So if you want to learn a little bit more, then you can head on over to the Atomic Mass Games website and have a read. And I think a bunch of people have done loads of videos on it as well. So they're cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it came out not that long ago.
It was like UK Games actually, basically. Yeah,
people have already went in with both feet. I know there's quite a people have got it in advance for various stores and stuff. Kathy Willett has been doing some stuff on her channel, especially building terrain and bits and pieces as is her want anyway. But interesting. It'll be fascinating to see where it goes. I look forward to the fire sale for Legion when they finally just can that one. And I'll be able to pick up all my stuff.
Ewoks are coming though, Jerry. So they're keeping it going for the Ewoks.
Yeah, sure, 100%. And then when it gets shit canned, I'll just scoop it all up then, and I'll have a load of miniatures to play with.
The gaming vulture that is Mr. McCabe.
100%. Right in there, pecking over the flesh of dead games. Right. 6 mil stuff from Lazy Forger.
So the Lazy Forger, we've seen them do amazing stuff in the past when we've looked at them as part of like 3D printing and also in just our news stories and general coverage really of everything they've done. But they designed a whole host of new 6 mil terrain for use in your small scale games. This new set is based around the idea of favelas. So if you wanted to put together a battlefield that the corporations and governments don't mind smashing to pieces, of course it's the favelas. Poor people who live there.
Destroy Brazil.
So they've designed these amazingly intricate pieces, as you can see here. Like the Lazy Forger don't pull any punches when it comes to design work and sort of intricate details. Like there's no reason for the floor to be covered in little bumps like rubble, but it does. There's no reason they had to build the interior of these 6 mil buildings with shelves and things then on the shelves. But they did.
Also appropriate levels of trash just sitting outside the door.
Yeah, lots of trash and scatter outside as well, which I think is really nice. And all the corrugated sort of roofing sections as well. And they've kind of, I think over on
they've done one with plastic deck chairs.
Yep. When you want to watch the mechs smashing through the city. Yeah. So they've done a couple of different housing sets, which are modular and you can kind of put them together in different ways. You've also got like bunker elements as well. So if you wanted to make the sort of create the idea of like a safe bunker area within the favelas, you can pick them up from their web store. And then there's that really awesome walls set, which I think is just phenomenal. Like I love the buildings, but the walls are great for kind of like hunkering down with your sort of
keeps the zombies out.
Or the zombies out as well.
Cannibal pygmies, whatever happens to be.
I really have to wonder, whenever they were starting the company, did they look at it and go, how ironic can we make our company name?
There's nothing lazy about it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I will say the level of detail on these is such that I know in the Lazy Forgers Discord, people have been printing some of the stuff at 28mm. Going, look at this. It's amazeballs.
Yeah.
I mean, and why would you not?
Yeah. I mean, one of the nice things about this is that it's all pre-supported at 6 and 10mm. So if you wanted to upscale it a little bit, you can do if you're playing 10mm games. So like Drop Zone or whatever. But if you want to take it to 15mm, it does obviously come with the supports on it, but they recommend re-supporting it. So I'd say the same bigger. Goes for 28 as well. But yeah, very nice.
That's bonkers.
Yeah.
I mean, just truly amazingly detailed.
The scenery in and of itself is fantastic. Obviously, they've been working on Full Spectrum Dominance, their own combined arms sci-fi game, which what this is for, but you can equally use it for BattleTech or other things. But their miniatures, the two armies for Full Spectrum Dominance are just spanking.
Yeah. You got to play it, didn't you, Jerry?
Yeah, I got, well, unfortunately, via the medium of Faraway Ones and Zero Land, the digital upside down world.
Yes.
But yeah,
it's BattleTech meets Saga. It's like dice allocation for resource management and stuff. There's a lot going on.
Ticks so many boxes.
It's really good. I don't even know if we've mentioned it on the channel or if it's appeared. Do you know that they're working on fantasy at the moment?
I didn't realize that.
They've showed off a few test pictures of small scale fantasy miniatures, fantasy/Viking. So it could be historic, could go fantasy. But I've seen some stands of the figures. They look amazing.
They're anything like the terrain.
That's for another day. But yeah, great stuff from Jack and
Van Davidoti.
Yeah, absolutely corking.
You never stop finding new interesting things. Like I keep seeing like little generators and little sort of sets of dropped off stuff that's been
dirty washing over the balconies.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
I'm just waiting for them to do a Where's Waldo.
It's probably in there somewhere. Yeah. I mean, he's got to be somewhere because otherwise people wouldn't be looking for him.
Clearly. But what has he done that's so bad that everybody's looking for him?
I was going to say something, but we can't. We'd have to blank that all. So draw your own conclusions at home. Anyway.
Thank you, Jerry.
Paul Hicks.
Yes. So Paul Hicks, the as an insane sculptor that he is.
One of the Paul Hicks clones.
Yeah. that they've got set up in his lab. Yeah. He's been working with Antediluvian miniatures on a new edition, a couple of new additions to their historical range. If folks don't know, they have Antediluvian have been doing a really nice selection of medieval Scots, but also kind of sort of early medieval Scots as well. So if you wanted to look from kind of just the end of the Dark Ages into the start of the early medieval period, been working on them as well. And there's 3 new sets that have been sculpted up by Hicks that are going to be coming out very, very soon. We start with the Great Axe Islesmen, as you can see there. So these would have been your Hebrideans, your Orkney folk.
Proto-Gallo Glass, or
Proto-Gallo Glass,
actual Gallo Glass in many respects.
So they've been working on these, and again, just phenomenal detail, especially when it comes to faces. I think Paul Hicks has got a gift for doing really nice faces.
I mean, they all have different faces, but they all say the same thing: "Get off my land."
Yeah, exactly. Get off my island.
Get off back into the sea, boy. This is our land now.
Yeah. So they've already done 2 sets of Islesmen already that come with both spears and swords, sort of axes and things like that. Yeah. But this then allows you to bring in sort of like elite great axe wielding fellows. So if you're playing a game a little bit like Saga, for example, then you could use these.
And speaking of Gallo Glass, Paul did the original Gallo Glass set when the range was at Claymore Castings before Antediluvian took it over. So there are Gallo Glass leashing about the place with axes already. So being able to add some additional Islesmen to them, having your bowmen, or even using these as cairns in an Irish setup as well would work.
Although, hey, Gandalf decided to be an archer.
Yes, that does look a lot like Ian McKellen actually on the left.
I mean, everybody's got to have a hobby.
I'm sick of being on green screen. I'd rather be in a battle, right? I just can't get my head around it, Peter.
I've lost my staff. What else do we have?
But yeah, so these are your early Highlands bowmen. So if you're looking to add them into the mix, you've got them as well there. I like that they've
detail on his Gamson is
just so good.
Spanking.
I love that they've got the they've also got the bows and the arrows and things, but they've also got the swords strapped to their belts as well.
Yeah.
So you get there's so many times where you see archers where they don't have a dagger or a sword
weapon,
when they would definitely have
or
one.
even a quiver,
or even a quiver.
You are given one arrow for the battle. That is your quota.
I'm like Legolas. I draw it from nowhere. But then we've also got the Caterans, so your Highland Caterans. So these are your kind of raiders, effectively. It's kind of like a catch-all term for kind of raiders and mercenaries and sort of the lower peasantry that would have been fighting during the period. So you could use these from kind of like the early through to much later in the sort of medieval period if you wanted to. The kind of arms and armor didn't necessarily change drastically.
So, especially when you hit the Celts, the Gales. Yeah, there was an awful lot of overlap for quite some time on both sides. So,
and I tend to think that middle right is very much a Jerry.
How's that feel?
Yeah, definitely has it. So if you're going to paint him up, definitely go down that route, I would say.
Just all the grey.
So study Jerry's face very carefully. Look at the camera, Jerry. Look at this.
It's very important that I'm very red. I'm either pale or very red. There's no in between. There's no tan. Don't go for tan flesh.
Well, here's the thing: because it's medieval, you have to be very red because you're fighting in summer.
Oh God, could you imagine?
God,
I wouldn't want to go to war.
And all that leather.
You've ruined war for me.
Yay!
With your talk of heat. Up until then, I was bang on board for it.
But so as well as sculpting for Antediluvian and doing those amazing historical miniatures, a lot of people also know that Hobday and Hicks do their awesome series of games and miniature slides based around things like the Barons' War, and they've also done Conquest, which is their sort of 1066 Dark Ages game, which is a spin-off of the Barons' War. And as we learned when we went to UK Games Expo, they're also going to be working on a fantasy range, which is coming up very soon. Oh my God.
I mean, I did get Jerry a little sneaky little gift.
You did, yes.
It's
so
on the table in front of me somewhere, but there's a layer of Forge Fathers that I can't get through.
So the first couple of miniatures that we've seen painted up as well are the painted by HVM Workbench, who do amazing work anyway. They're just stunning, especially the Middle Earth range is fantastic. All the stuff they've done for that is great. But anyway, they've painted up the Dark Wizard, as you can see there. But they've also done a series of Orc Warriors that are coming out.
I do love just how grimy and gritty the orcs are, even down to details like damage on chainmail.
Yeah. I think they look stunning. There's definitely, from my point of view, especially when it comes to the orcs, there's a kind of Middle-earthy Tolkien-esque feel to them in their design, which is always nice to see. But you could obviously use these very generically in a whole range of different games, and of course their own game when it comes out. From what I've heard anyway, they've got humans and orcs nailed down as at least two of the factions that they're going to be working on. But I would love to see Hicks work on dwarves and elves. I am eagerly awaiting what he does with them when it comes to sort of big beards and pointy ears.
Yeah.
Well, I will say the spears there, they look like the brass spears that are actually sharp.
Oh yeah. Pretty much all the spears and pikes and lances for footsore are always supply wire spears. Because it's the only way to do it. It will be. I mean, there's certainly a very Angus MacBride feel on the orcs.
Very much.
I wonder if they'll take the sort of keys for some of the other fantasy races from that similar style, or go in a completely new direction of their own.
Yeah, it'll be very cool to see what they do with it. When I first saw this chap, I was kind of getting sort of Arthurian vibes, but then we saw the orcs, which kind of take us more towards kind of classic fantasy. So interesting to see. I'd love to see skeletons as well. Skeletons by Hicks.
Skelly Bobs would be interesting.
Yeah.
Then he does such good faces.
He does.
Just doing repetitive skulls over and over. I think unless they won't, because it's too surreal to lean into the Evil Dead Army of Darkness where you have grinning skeletons and things like that.
Well, what if he did different fantasy race Skelly Bobs in the set? Might work.
You could have fun with like orcs and goblins and all sorts of different things.
Orc heads, dwarf heads, elf heads.
That would be certainly nice because
all the heads.
There's a lack of kind of other fantasy races of skeletons out there nowadays. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to remember who did the Draugr. It was Colin Patten.
It was Colin Patten,
for Ragnarok.
Yeah. Ragnarok.
Draugr, really nice. So maybe doing undead in a Draugr / Army of the Dead style, where they still have skin, like peat bog bodies.
We're dry undead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aren't those like dusty undead?
No.
Dusty undead.
Dusty?
Very sand. No sand.
Oh, there's no sand there. Yeah.
Draugr come from Scandinavia. You couldn't get further from dry undead.
Yeah, but they're those.
This is why I said dusty undead.
Those crypts are kind of dusty and
not that.
Dusty, but not dry.
Yeah. Shay, tell them no.
Dry undead for the win, Jerry. Come on.
God. Can't take you anywhere. If you were nicer, Shay, I wouldn't poison you every time we went away.
That makes sense. Oh,
there's the key component. Jerry.
Just saying. You would come back and you wouldn't be ill all the time if you just knuckle down and get in line with the big win.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, well, okay.
Being betrayed.
Has he ever given you red wine, Shay?
Mostly I do it when he's asleep. It's a bit like Groose Point Blank. I just have a thread that I drip stuff down into his mouth.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were putting antifreeze into his red wine to make him eventually have a stroke.
No. That would be cruel.
There we go.
Besides, you never know when you're going to be short of a bottle of wine yourself. If I'm thirsty.
Why waste it? Okay.
Right. We have one final piece of news.
We do, yeah. So in lieu of the Worlds of Warhammer 40,000 just being essentially Leviathan for the next couple of weeks, I thought I'd look at a different way for you to use all those Tyranids you've now suddenly got in your collection. Adam and Vince, the folks behind Snarling Badger Studios that people will know very well, have released their new Wargame, which released kind of over the UK Games Expo sort of weekend, called Majestic 13. If you are a fan of XCOM, this is the game for you to dive into and have a look at. As I saw you playing it in the van, I know you're definitely a fan of XCOM, Justin.
Hey, you got to do something when you're on the boat for 8 hours.
That's true. So this is a miniature agnostic game. I know a lot of people don't like that phrase, but that's what it is. Where you can use whatever sci-fi / near future miniatures you want from different games. The main premise behind this is that it's a solo / cooperative affair where you'll be taking on the role of one of the different agencies or corporations on planet Earth that is trying to deal with the alien threat that is looking to take over lovely marble in the depths of space. You will dive in and you'll create your collection of soldiers that are being sent out into the field based on 13 different sort of corporations or sort of agencies. This could be kind of like dudes with pitchforks and stuff they found in the local garage that are going out to hunt things in the farms, or it could be like fully heavily armed soldiers, as you can see here, in like tactical armor with all the latest laser weaponry and everything else in between.
If I have to choose, I'm going with the CIA.
Well, there we
go. They have good toys.
Yeah. And then you will dive into a series of missions and sort of campaigns where you'll play out sort of different objectives and things like maybe rescuing civilians, dealing with a big alien beastie, helping out places that are going to get destroyed, sneaking into sort of alien spaceships, very XCOM-like, and everything else in between. And then you'll be hoping to come back to base without being turned into goo. But don't worry. One of the nice things about the game is that you can kind of add stats to all your different characters in whichever way you see fit. And so if you've made the best super soldier in the world, but he accidentally gets blown up by an alien grenade or swallowed by a bug, there are clones back at base. So there'll always be a clone of your dead soldier that will be brought back into service. But they will always be a little bit worse than the first time they went out, which was quite nice. So,
iterations of Paul Hicks.
Exactly.
For this, I need a modular magnetized modern city set.
Well, there we go. Yeah.
Someone start Kickstarter like right now.
Yeah.
I could just use my Mars Attack stuff then.
Yeah.
Actually, good shout.
That's very true. If it's anything like the stuff that Snarling Badger have done in the past, like Rain in Hell and their Space Station 13, was it, I think? Or Space Station something.
Zero.
Space Station Zero.
Yeah.
If it's anything like those two games, there's a lot of stuff to get stuck into here and lots of ways for you to customize it to the way that you want to play your games. And I could see a lot of people, as I say, picking up stuff from maybe Wargames Atlantic and then Tyranids and everything else in between in order to play out some fun XCOM style affairs on the tabletop. So yeah, definitely look at this one.
The Harvesters would be very good for it.
Oh, yes.
From
very good.
Atlantic. And then obviously you've got Ura.
You do.
Space Marines. So,
the plague from Dead Zone would be good for it.
Yeah.
Filthy plague. I'm not
a
going
lab
to
exploded somewhere.
Weirdly, now I'm just thinking about just playing Mars Attacks. But, so using the Martians as your team and then hunting down these terrifying humans who are...
Oh my God, that'd be so good. Flip it on its head.
Flip it on its head, yeah.
And instead of having big gribbly monsters, they have... What is that? Is that a mech? Oh no, they're not allowed those.
Yeah. Mechs, any of the sort of ultra-modern stuff where they've started adding other bits and pieces in. Just spend your time hunting those down.
Yeah.
Is that some sort of Bradley over there? Take it out.
Do not run. We are your friends.
And on that note, I think it's time for a swish. Some of us need to cool down. Clearly, heat stroke is setting in. We should be back to round out the show with some Kickstarters and a little bit of 3D printing. All right, we are back and ready to check out some ones and zeros. The old digital 3D printing. Shiznay.
Oh, excuse me.
He's allergic to 3D printing. Okay, we're skipping this segment. No? All right. And this is a different one.
It is.
This was recommended by Viking.
Yes, one of our buddies, John, from UK Games Expo, who does the Viking reenactments, as I was walking out to very quickly run and grab a thing from the hotel, which I had forgot at the hotel, which was on accident and not on purpose. He caught up with me and just went, "Here, have a look at this." And what it is, there is a guy in the world who is going around scanning ancient monuments and then converting them to 3D printable files. So if you're doing anything historical and you need some statuary, some ancient magical stones, anything that's like that good stuff, well, now you can get it in 3D and off you go.
Yeah. So this is Scan the World. And as you say, there was an individual behind it, but I think it's grown to have like a huge collective of individuals that are going to their museums in their local countries, their cities and things, and basically scanning all the different artifacts, as well as there being like actual academic teams doing exactly the same thing, because for a lot of the cases you want to try and preserve a lot of this stuff if the worst would happen, and so having scans of it and stuff is absolutely fantastic. And so it's been really nice, as you say, Justin, to see people looking at and grabbing some of the statuary and all the different sort of buildings and art pieces and everything else in between that you can find in different cities around the world that would then be perfect for dropping into your games, whatever they might be.
Yeah. I mean, John has said the one that he wants converted to a 3D printable file is the latest scan they did of the Titanic.
A big ass Titanic. That would be cool.
That is huge.
Set up millions and millions of 3D printers and let Shay have at it, is what I say.
Yes. Give me an army.
They're some of them are categorized by where they've come from. Is there a category in here? Have they literally gone geographic, or no? Collections. I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it's based on. They've done some of it based on museums.
There we go. Okay.
And then some of it by country as well. So you can break down things that were found in the British Museum or in the Egyptian. The Sutton Hoo one's really cool because they've got like the classic helmet that everybody knows. Which is really nice as well. So if you're looking to make gaming tokens for your games, but you want them to look as accurate as possible, get some Sutton Hoo coins to use those. That's pretty cool. Get the helmet for you to add to your miniatures or just use as a piece of terrain. Maybe make it huge and like carve out the side of it and turn it into like a giant's helmet or something like that. Could be very nice.
After the days when making money was just a simple matter of just taking a bit of metal and smashing it between two rocks.
Yeah, I actually did that. I went to a medieval fair and I got to make my own silver coins. It was really nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool. Yeah. And it was basically that, just getting a hammer and smashing it.
But this is a really cool idea. If you're looking to do like some themed pieces, say you're even just wanting to actually like decorate your gaming room.
Yeah.
Doing something like the helmet and then painting it up could be really cool. Yeah. All depends, because there are multiple people doing it now, like you say, the quality of the scans are probably going to vary depending on what equipment each person has.
But I think it's a great way to essentially bring a lot more of that realistic history, a lot of real history to the tabletop to bring into your games or as you say, your rooms and things like that.
I suppose a lot of it will come down to access as well. I mean, I'm fairly certain that the British Museum are not going to open the cabinet up and allow somebody to get right in there. So they're going to have to scan or take their photographs or whatever they do, sketch it on piece of paper from outside the cage. But then other things that are statuary out in the street
are a lot easier to scan.
A lot easier to just get in there and have a look around in.
Or if it's things like old obelisks and things, definitely.
The thing that I like as well is that you can a lot of the time you'll look at stuff like this and you'll see it in the form that you're aware of from the museum. So it'll be like battered and chipped and all that kind of thing. But you could obviously come back to these and kind of take some cues from, art and descriptions of the period and paint them up to look how they would have done. Because one of the big things I was watching Jason and the Argonauts, and they're all fighting around ruins.
Yes.
They're all like white, and you're like, that wouldn't have been the case. It would have all been painted. And so I keep looking.
Those
obviously
it's from Atlantis, though.
Yeah.
So they were Greek ruins.
So I'm always like, but if you're going to make Rome, have it so it's bright and colourful, because that's what it would have been like back at the time, covered in blues and yellows and golds and reds and everything else in between.
You can see it in Santo Pancha's project.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
It's a ride of colour. But another good thing about this is because depending on the game you're playing, if it's a modern game, then you can obviously there's modern statuary, or there's the ancient relics that can just be run as is, or for ancients, then you may want to use some of the more modern, but in that aesthetic style. So the modern reproductions that they've scanned to have the Venus de Milo or whatever it happens to be, without with the arms included, stuck on a thing in Venice, because there's lots of companies that do plinths and stuff. So Ressa do a load of plinths, but then finding models to go on them in 28mm for specific periods is very difficult. Generally, you're left going, well, what I'm going to do is just stick a mounted cavalry figure on it and spray it marbly white. Or but just an infantryman on a pedestal, that sort of thing. Being able to stick down some famous statuary because it's really good for historics in particular.
If you wanted to go a little bit nuts, you actually could go the whole hog and actually do a full museum for your forces to fight through.
I was thinking, imagine that as like a Cthulhu-based game, or like Night of the Museum, but like a proper horror movie.
See, I'm actually thinking do like a war ravaged museum with like smashed up display cases and stuff.
Yeah, that would be really cool. You could have them. Was it the Museum Men? Was that what it was?
Was it Monuments Men?
The Monuments Men with George Clooney and stuff. Yeah, which is based on the real chaps that went in to try and get all the relics and stuff before they got destroyed or hidden away. You could do exactly that.
The Map Men, who are different but equally good.
But yeah, I think it's a really awesome little collection and a really fun idea, and also something that it's is a benefit both historically and also for us tabletop gamers, especially those who are really good at working and tweaking the settings on their 3D printers. Because if you can get these to the right scale and get all the details and everything like that, I think you could get some really nice clean sculpts out of these nowadays. Or prints out of these nowadays.
That's it. I mean, I have no idea about how digital files work, but they can be thrown into programs and changed, can't they? You can use Blender. Potentially you could pull the pock marks and aged bits out, flatten the surfaces off, make them a bit crisper. He said, knowing nothing about how intricate or detailed that would be.
You know what I would really love to see
really
them do?
Just do that.
Go around some of like the old like Roman fountains and stuff for bigger terrain pieces.
Ooh, yeah.
So you could then 3D print those out and just lay them down and do like a big section of Rome.
That'd be good.
There's no point in a big section of Rome until Lloyd has built the rest of Rome for me. Still seems to be resisting that.
The meme's still good. It's still
always.
Good.
It's an older meme, sir, but it checks out.
The statue of a marmot. There's so many weird, wacky things.
So many files.
Yeah. There is
just from a aesthetic or stylistic choices for some of the older stuff. Because I'm sure there's bits and pieces in here that you'll never have seen.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because I could send you off a whole tangent. You're thinking, well, I'm going to do X for my tabletop game and you see something in here like this Arthur Ashe monument where apparently he's having to beat off zombie children who are coming for him with a stack of Nog and the Nog books and a tennis racket. So, I mean, I would never have thought that the great monument to the zombie apocalypse of, well, it looks like early 80s.
That's clearly got to be a Malifaux statue.
Could be that. But get in there, beat them down. I also noticed that there's, for most, if not all, of the ones that we've been through, there's descriptions on where they come from, what they are, when they were erected, and where you can find them in real life as well. So it's nice that you can reach out and touch them in real life if you're interested as well. Yeah, that is a eclectic mix of stuff. Oh, yeah, poor Demeter. No head, no arms, no luck. But yeah,
I love the concept of this. For either if you want to do it big scale, go nuts. If you want to do something for your gaming table, this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Busts are very nice as well.
It's also interesting seeing the scan without all of the patina and stuff, seeing it clean.
Although, obviously, patinaing it up, it's a really quick and easy way of painting it.
Very true.
That's much easier, Ben, than painting it bright and colourful like it used to be.
Yes, yeah.
The lazy person in me is thinking, let's do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole host. There's 13,000 odd scans in here.
Something like that, yeah.
Something mad.
And growing.
So we're probably not going to look at all of them. We'll look at half. No? Okay, then. But yeah, very different from our usual fare, but I think worthwhile having a look at.
Well, everybody always needs terrain and things to make their tabletops unique, and this is the kind of stuff that would do that really nicely, I think.
Well, it's small incidental pieces like this are really what bring a game and table to life for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, telling fun stories.
You too can recreate the zombie apocalypse of Arthur Ashe in your own home. See how that goes for you.
Coming to GameFound soon.
Yeah. If it's not, I'll start it.
Did you win one of our prizes? Find out on our prize claim center over at OnTableTop.com. Here we list all our previous prizes and those who have won. If you see your username, fill out the form to claim your prize. All prizes must be claimed within 30 days.
Right. We have 3 crowdfunding campaigns.
We do.
You spoil us this week.
I do.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah.
And we're going to be starting off with an old favourite. Shay, have you seen Firefly?
Firefly, yes.
Oh man, are we still playing the game?
Oh,
always
playing the game. Of course.
All right.
So yeah, Gale Force 9 have hit up GameFound with their new project that is, as you can see, incredibly well funded for you to get your hands on Firefly the game. If anybody has missed out on Firefly the game, it's great. There's a demo video that Justin did years and years ago.
Oh, yes.
Which you can go
many moons ago.
You can see younger Justin. It's like looking back through time.
Honestly, I haven't changed that much in 10 years.
That's true. So this is the 10th edition anniversary box. Well, sorry, the 10th anniversary edition box, collector's edition box. So many words.
We're with you.
That allows you to dive back into not just the core game for Firefly, but also every single expansion and promo bit and everything else in between that was ever made for the game, all in one place. When you dive into Firefly the game, it's a very open-ended experience. It's very much one of those kind of event games, I like to think, where you set it up, you'll get your ship, and you will head out into the verse to do whatever you want to do in order to make some money and come out the other end smelling of roses and with all the victory points. Num, 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 num. So you could be a cargo hauler, just ferrying things from one end of the verse to the other. You could be a smuggler. You could be an outlaw. You could hunt down people as bounty hunters. You could do everything that you want in the Firefly world and take it as you see fit and do whatever you want to get your sort of route towards victory, which obviously means that it's great coming back to it every single time because you can play it in a multitude of different ways and it'll all change anyway depending on the ships that you get, the crew that you find, the events that you get into, and everything else that's drawn throughout the process as well. As I say, the core game is in there, but you're also going to get your hands on every single one of the expansions. So they've looked at loads of the different episodes.
Monies and stuff.
Yep, loads of additional things there. There's also a really great kit for veterans who maybe have everything already. So the veteran pilot's upgrade kit comes with, and the actual core pledge comes with this as well, because it's a big plush thing. You get painted resin ships for all of the vehicles, the flyers in the game. So you can see them there, which is very nice.
I'm going to have to get my copy out again.
Yeah. So if you're looking to kind of just upgrade what you already have, you have that option too. As you can see, they've made this so it is very luxurious. So you have all the storage options as well. So essentially everything Firefly is contained within one box, and you'll never have to play another game ever again, because this will take up all of your time.
Shiny.
It doesn't come with a pair of blue gloves, though, to keep it all pristine.
Well, no, yeah.
It
would be really great if it came with its own brown coat, though. That would be good.
No, the only thing to say is, playing this game, I am to misbehave.
Yes, of course. But yeah, a really fun kind of re-release of Firefly. It can be it was quite hard over the last couple of years to get your hands on some of the expansion content or indeed the core game. And so for Gale Force 9 to be bringing this back out and being like, hey, dive in and get absolutely everything you could ever want for Firefly, I think this is really cool. And even then, you could always just pick up some of the separate bits if you wanted to as well, which is quite nice.
Firefly
I will also say Firefly Adventures is really fun as well. So if you wanted to get another game on top of this one, I would heartily recommend that. It's really good.
Well, the way it plays, it's more like, so this is the overarching universe in the main game, but the Adventures one is like you're getting to play out an episode of the show with the crew once they've landed.
Yeah. And you can kind of like sneak around, and then things go hot and you have to like rush before the alarm goes off. Oh, that's really good. Yeah.
And even the turn sequence mechanic in it is one of the best I've ever seen, because each action you take takes time. So everyone else is always playing catch up behind you.
Yeah.
If you do something really like complicated, it'll take longer. So you go further down the track. So you have to wait longer before it's your turn again.
Yeah. It's really well done, and kind of really hits the sort of tone and feel of the show. Yeah, and then the larger board game does exactly the same thing as well, but on a grander scale, as Justin was saying. So yeah, very cool.
Can you play it out of order like Fox did? Can I have my turn 6 while you're having your turn 3?
Yes. Well, it's very Virtue, I guess so, yeah, because you could play with different characters and different ships and all over the place. So yeah, you too can be Fox.
I will ruin the experience for everybody around the table, just like Fox did. Well done, Fox. We hate you.
Hey, at least they haven't put the movie into the board game.
Have they not?
I quite like Serenity, though. But...
No. Wash. Oh, my guy.
You know.
Spoilers for Firefly.
I think you're admitting it.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are 20 days left. It's massively funded. So yeah, you can go in and pick and choose whether you want it all, or if you just want to pick up the bits relevant to you.
Yep.
And then you can call it This Land. And it should be fine. As long as the T-Rex doesn't inevitably betray you, you're fine. No, fine here.
How many more quotes can we get in?
Oh, so many. All of them. Yeah. Anyway.
We will float like a leaf on the wind into our next Kickstarter, which comes from Ragnarok Miniatures. Oh my God, we were talking about Colin earlier.
Talked about him earlier, yeah. I should really pay attention to what's in the show.
So this is the Kickstarter project for Ragnarok, Sons of Odin. This is possibly their biggest collections of Vikings yet. There's 150 to choose from, or get all of them. That's the way to go. They're all 28 mil. They're all metal, and they've been focused around, in particular with this, Colin's love of the sagas and the Icelandic sagas themselves, and in particular as well, even more particular, Njál's saga. So there's a breakdown of kind of what you get in this set. You can pick up a whole host of personalities, but before we get to that, this is the Shield Wall collection. So Colin has sculpted up a huge array of different Vikings for you to build your own shield wall in a kind of historically accurate way. So you've got dudes at the front who are like stabbing and charging, chaps towards the back who are at rest. You've got folks suffering the arrow storm, as it were, with sort of the shields above their heads, defending against arrows coming in from afar. And then you've got all of those dead Vikings that have been people skewered by the opposing Saxons, no doubt, or maybe even another Viking clan. But as well as that, they've also got a selection of personalities. So as I mentioned, they're doing Njál's saga, and so you'll be able to pick up all the different personalities and characters that were part of that saga and use them as warlords for your warbands and everything else in between. The other nice thing about this campaign is that they've kind of broken things down in terms of pledges and stuff, so you could build saga warbands out of it, which is what a lot of people are probably going to do. Handy. But there is also a set of PDF rules that you'll get if you back the campaign, done by another Patten. So Stephen Patten has also worked on some rules that you could just play with these miniatures straight as soon as you get them. Once the Kickstarter's over, which is really nice. So if you wanted to go down a different route, you can do. But yes, if you are looking for Vikings and you were like, oh, well, I don't really like some of the stuff that's out there at the moment, go and have a look at what Colin's doing, because he does phenomenal work in the Dark Age period. And these are
I just get all the Vikings, please?
Yes. Can I have one of everything?
If you want to go for the complete set, Colin started at Gripping Beast, and Gripping Beast are now selling his Ragnarok range. So you can just jump between the Ragnarok section and the regular Dark Age section and have all of those. And then he sculpted a set for Saxon miniatures that is currently with Warlord Games. And they all scale, they all match. The sculpting style is all the same. So you could put together a monumental Viking warband where they are all individuals. Yes, we're all individuals.
Absolutely love it. I love that the whole idea, because Colin sold off his range. Well, a lot of all the selling goes through Gripping Beast now, because then that means that he can focus solely on sculpting.
He doesn't have to care about producing, packing, or shipping.
And so
parts.
I love that this is essentially born fruit. He has been able to go away and build as many Vikings as he saw fit to build an entire army of the Sons of Odin for use on the tabletop. But
I wonder, because they're all individual, I wonder if it's just him sitting down at his local and just sculpting away one person at the bar's head and going, you will now be a Viking archer.
Maybe.
Filthy Levy. Worse Filthy Levy. Berserkers. Yeah. Danax wielding Hearthguard. More filth. And of course, your regular warriors. So your Bondi. Split into a variety of peoples. Don't have any of those filth with their big baggy pants, do? There's no Yums Vikings here. No, good.
No, we don't go down that route.
We're all fine. But you can just see
cavalry?
Just the amount. No, don't.
No pony cavalry.
No pony cav. They can stay at home. But you just see the diversity in there and just how many there are. It's cracking. Absolutely cracking. Obviously, all these shields or spears will be replaced with brass. Lovely brass.
I think I would go as far as to say that I think Colin does possibly the best Vikings on the market at the especially the best metal Vikings. I think Victrix have done a pretty darn good job with the plastics.
Why are you kneeling down, Justin? Is your knee hurting?
Funnily enough, that is actually my bad knee.
Yeah, he's done too much lifting.
No, it's like the time at Expo where I actually did get into gear and had to do weapons training.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
some absolutely spanking stuff there.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
It should have there was a couple of additional extras that were added in as well. We saw there as greens. So just because he'd done two kind of priests, so he's got a Saxon missionary priest and also a Viking shaman.
Christianized.
Yeah.
The Danes have been Christianized. Quickly kill them all. Kill them.
I wish they had been married, so it's just them arguing with each other.
Well, if you turn the shaman around, it does look like he's pointing at him. Don't you dare put that down.
The power of Christ compels you. Your God has no power here.
So some really good stuff there as well. Yeah. And obviously, Colin's been working on Kickstarters for the last however long and been producing these miniatures alongside Gripping Beast now as well. So, it's one of those ones that you can trust to be delivering, which is always nice to have.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Surety of when it comes to Kickstarter. So.
There's a ton of stuff there already, including obviously the Draugr and Goblins that we were talking about earlier that are all sculpted in a Dark Age Scandinavian feel. So you can play out your full historical.
He even did a Gandalf and a Bilbo.
It did a whole little fellowshipy set. Yes.
He did.
Yeah, that's some Dwarven friends. Right, 20 days left on that one as well, and also funded. And last but by no means least, a game from Shayjuth, Crossbows and catapults.
She's like, what?
What? Ooh.
So we started with something that was inspired by the youth of yesteryear, and we end with something that's inspired by the youth of yesteryear. So Crossbows and Catapults, most people will remember this as their kind of fun game that you used to play, where you had elastic bands galore that would always snap, and a whole bunch of catapults and crossbows, as the name would suggest. And your aim was to destroy as many of your opponent's troops on the walls of their castle and win the game. Well, Restoration Games, who have brought back a whole host of classic games like Fireball Island and Dark Tower, are now working on Crossbows and Catapults over on Kickstarter, and they have summarily upgraded it to be amazing. So one of the cool things about this one is that it has funky pinch, screw, twist technology. So you no longer have to rely on elastic bands to power your weaponry. You've now got very ergonomically designed crossbows and catapults that you can actually winch up and down to like change the elevation. Oh my God, it's so good. And then it sort of clicks back and then fires with like supreme accuracy. Oh, it's so nerdy. It's amazing. They've also redesigned the wall sections and the troops as well, so that they can be fitted together in a whole host of different modular ways. There's also 2 different versions of the game. So Castle Battles is the one that they're going to be producing alongside the folks at Goliath. This will be the one that's kind of sold in your sort of WH Smiths or your Walmarts or whatever. And it's your kind of classic crossbows and catapults sort of endeavor on the tabletop, where you'll just build up a castle and you'll just start shooting each other and try and win that way. There is also a more hobby version of the game, because of course there is, which is called Fortress War. And this comes with additional components, more castle pieces, more mercenary troops that you can throw into the mix as well. And also like a card deck that changes things up and sort of messes around with the sort of state of play between games, which I think is quite nice. The basic premise of Crossbows and Catapults hasn't changed, though. It's still very much the same. You can either fire your crossbow or catapult, or you can move your troops around the wall to try and hide them from the enemy. And essentially, that's it, really. They've just done a whole host of awesome things to upgrade this and bring it back to the fore. And I think this looks amazing.
Yeah, you don't need to improve on perfection.
Oh, yes.
Oh, look at that poor dwarf getting scuttled off the table there. Did you see it? Did you see it?
Crossbows and Catapults is great as well, because it's existed in my terrain collection since I can remember.
Really?
We had a whole bunch of the old bricks, which were flimsy as hell, but we sort of repainted them and used them for like wall sections and modular buildings that we could use in more time and stuff, which was really cool. And so I could see a lot of people doing something similar with these ones as well. Although, please, for the love of God, cover them in varnish, because if you are going to paint them, they're going to get battered to hell. So
that just adds to the aesthetic. That's its patina.
I suppose, yeah. That's its battle damage.
I like it's a relatively low buy-in for the base. The base game by itself is only $30. If you want to go for the full-on, it's
sort
only
of Stanley
$90.
family version,
and then you can expand from there. And it's probably the first dexterity game I can remember as a kid. I can't think of anything else where you were actually setting up and attempting to rain destruction from on high without having to go ahead and roll dice and stuff.
There's something in my head saying that I have played this game, but I can't remember.
Very popular.
I reckon it's probably been something you've played at some point in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, but I get the feeling that we played it in the office one time or something extremely similar.
There is another game that came out recently called Catapult Feud, where you have 2 catapults and you fire them at each other, which is sort of similar. But
you played it on the live stream UKG last year?
We played it last year. Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
But yeah, I just thought I'd drop this one in here because Restoration Games do amazing stuff. And Crossbows and Catapults seem like a fantastic game for them to bring back to life with just better components. And yes, there'll be less elastic bands flying off and hitting children in the eye. Instead, you'll just have incredibly high-powered plastic weaponry to fire each other.
Well, that's fine. That makes up for it.
Yeah.
I will say, I am noticing if you do the all-in, go for the big Warlord bundle, your shipping is free.
Free to most regions, yeah.
Makes sense.
I was trying to see whether or not it's all the friendlies, EU, US, UK, all of that. I couldn't see it.
Well, there it is.
No, that's the postage, but it doesn't say.
Oh.
It doesn't say where it ships from, so they may ship it for free, but you might get hit with import charges.
This is fair.
That's the one I'm after. So it may be in there somewhere. People can have a wee nosy around and see. If you're of the Nog and the Nog style age, you're probably aware of Crossbows and Catapults. So it's nice to see another game come by from Restoration, because they do just seem to harvest our childhoods.
Very much so. I will also say, if you want to take it to the next level and you want to throw some kind of weird Da Vinci style siege machinery into your games, if you've got a Beyblade sitting in a box somewhere, set that up, let it rip and let it fly towards the opponent's castle.
Oh, now you're hitting my childhood.
Yeah.
Oh,
I dare ask what a Beyblade is.
It's a spinning top that is a modular thing where you have the base spinner, a weight ring, an attack ring, and then a locking piece on the top.
You have
Think of it as like a deadly fidget spinner.
I know what a spinning top is.
The fights we had at school over components.
Right, okay. When we used to use spinning tops, they came with a tiny whip, and you would pull it, and then you would whip it to get the spinning top going. Is that how a Beyblade is?
Kind of similar.
No, this thing actually has a mechanical launcher that you lock it onto, and then it has a whippy stick that goes through, and then you rip out.
Yeah.
Right, older people in the comments, whipping the top, it's much more fun, isn't it, than some sort of mechanical thing doing it all for you. I mean, if you mess it up, then you just stop your top moving.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, if you really want, you could always just break out the tiddlywinks and start firing little tiddlywink arrows.
all of this works. Yeah. Right.
But either way, Crossbows, Catapults.
Yeah. Funded as well. 24 days left. You've got plenty of time. We could take a break for 3 weeks and not have to think about it. See how that goes. If this heat continues, I may have to. We shall return on Sunday morning for the XLBS, our little Cult of Games exclusive over on tabletop.com. You can join us there as we witter incessantly about hobby. Otherwise, we shall return next Friday for more of the same. Don't forget, if you want to win another glorious day in the core, then you need to comment below. And if you want to see if you're a past winner, go and have a look over on tabletop.com at the prize claim center. Because I see people going, when's it going to be announced? Going, it's been announced. It gets announced there. That's where I announce it. Yes. So if you want to see if you're a winner, check that page. Otherwise, we shall see you next week. Until then, have a great week of gaming. Bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.